Some more great inflation news, my friends. And I am being sarcastic. This is nuts. I tell you, I'm a big proponent of deflation. Absolutely. I didn't expect the level of corruption and pure insanity that comes from the cabal and the Green New Deal crowd. And the COP26 and the Agenda 2030, I did not expect that level of insanity and pure, just complete lack of concern for everyday people. It's incredible, actually, and it's going to be painful, and you're going to feel it in higher costs of goods. No other way around it. Nothing to do with government spending. I'm just telling you. Everyone keeps saying it's government spending. Nope. If it's government spending, you got to explain every single economy, including the United States, that spends like drunken infantrymen, and we don't have inflation until all of a sudden the crackdown on cheap energy and the self-sufficiency of the United States. So let's read this from What's Up With That. We're burning a $50 bill. EU is facing energy crisis next year. High energy prices are here to stay. Greece warns Europeans face a $395 billion hike in energy bills next year. Europeans will pay an additional $350 billion in energy bills as global demand, and that's in euro, so almost $400 billion in US dollars, as global demand for fuel and power threatens to keep prices elevated, according to the Greece's energy minister. Kostas Skrikas said a new mechanism to help shield the most vulnerable citizens and middle-sized businesses from price increases should be created in the European Union. It came as officials from Hungary and Spain voiced concerns about recent volatility in carbon emission market at a meeting of environmental ministers. In the face of the extraordinary situation, we cannot remain uninvolved. Greece has estimated earlier this year that Europeans would face an increase of 100 billion euros this winter alone. Europe's energy crunch is straining national budgets and has become one of the EU's biggest political challenges, fueling inflation just as governments contend with the spread of Omicron. Member states have come forward with a number of proposals, from a redesign of how the electricity market works to caps on the bloc's carbon trading market. Perfect storm, EU on the brink as it grapples with energy crisis. Across the continent, prices per megawatt hour now exceed 300 euros in most countries. With the exception of Poland and Scandinavia countries, all countries in Europe have broken the 300 pound megawatt hour barrier, with France and Switzerland nearly at 400. Head of analytics at a research firm said he'd never seen this kind of volatility in high prices. What does high prices mean? $395 billion is an incredible amount, presumably on the top of this. That's on top of this year's price increase, which equates to $890 per capita. It's also clear that prices won't come down anytime soon, if ever. Indeed, this is exactly the scenario that the EU has been planning, to push up energy prices so much that renewables are competitive. Yep. The only way to get prices back down is increase production of oil, gas, and coal. Under normal circumstances, rising market prices would incentivize this. EU policy, which is holding it back. So I want to show you something else. Snap this winter could zap New England power grid, says the ISO boss. Don't power up that electric car during a polar vortex. This is crazy, man. I forget what was ISO, Independent Service Operator, I think. If a polar vortex parks itself over New England this winter, it's going to be start chopping wood. ISO CEO Gordon Van something, who gets paid $2.3 million according to tax filings, warned Thursday such a cold snap could knock out the grid. People need to be prepared. I'm not trying to cause undue alarm, but there are vulnerable supply issues. What causes inflation? Scarcity. What causes scarcity? Government policy. I don't like government printing, giving away free money, I grant you. Government policy is a whole hell of a lot worse than that, though. Topping that fear factor list is a price and supply of natural gas. The region's lifeline. Get it? The price and supply of natural gas. With prices soaring in Europe and Asia, warm weather forecast for next week and possibly the end of December has eased the worrisome, but this guy stresses a Texas-sized freezing across the region that worries him. Last February, the power grid in Texas left millions without power and sub-zero temperatures. and hundreds died. We rely on energy supply chain that is quite fragile. What if the weather doesn't stay fine? The weather forecast for this winter is calling for mild temps. You better freaking pray that happens, man. So let's just take it. It's going to be nice here in Georgia the next couple of days. It's going to be fantastic. So let's look at my old stomping ground. Actually, I just see it. Hold on a second. So here's Peaks Island. In Maine, it's going to be 37, 30s, 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 and 40s, 30, low 30s. That's not so bad. I mean, it's Maine after all, but it's going to be lows in the teens, all right, all next week. Right here, though, it's going to be 50s, 60s, 70s. Look at that. I'll take that global warming any day of the week. Let's look at Boston. 40s, 30s, 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 40s, 30s again. So high 30s. Let's look at, we just looked at Boston. I guess that's all I got for the north. I just saw Prescott. Prescott, yeah, look at that. That's in Phoenix. That's about an hour and a half north of Phoenix. 40s, 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 38, 39, 39, 39. That's crazy. And they're getting snow in Prescott, man. That's crazy. I mean, that's cold, man. Now, that's different. That's Arizona. Don't get me wrong. I'm just using that for an example that if you get some cold weather and let's see, I just had Phoenix on here too. Hold on just a second, because if Prescott's getting that cold, yeah, they're calling for snow in Prescott Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of next week. That's crazy. What's Phoenix going to be? I'm just curious here. There's Phoenix, yeah, 60s, and so Phoenix is usually 10 to 20 degrees higher than Prescott. So look at that. Anyway, so you can see what I'm talking about. Let's look at Freiburg, Maine, West Maine. 26, 31, 35, 37, 34, 31. Lows of the low teens. That's no joke, man. That is no joke. Halifax, that's Nova Scotia. 23, 20, 35. Yeah, so the ISO New England is charged with maintaining the power grid in the 6 New England states, which means operating the balance of supply and demand. The push for green energy should force policymakers to plan for the future power needs until wind and solar and other new sources can come online. People don't know how closely we're operating to the edge. We need to put a spotlight on this problem. A national shortage of truck drivers, along with the supply and demand, coupled with supply chain woes brought on by the pandemic, are all in the mix. Our job is to prevent the grid from collapsing. As for other ISO brass, they talk about how much money these guys paid. And the ISO is funded largely by the fees on top of the residents' electricity bills, and brought in $194 million in 2019. It takes just $1 a month from the average rate taxpayer, but these guys are getting paid millions. All right, whatever. It's just point being, this is what causes inflation, my friends. All this is inflationary. That's simple, my friends. If you have high, expensive energy, everything in the world runs on cheap and runs on energy. If your energy bills are high, then guess what? You're going to have high prices. And again, I still completely believe the demographics and the spending is absolutely, and debt that we've accumulated is absolutely deflationary. But that's a long term. The short term is this insanity for green energy. It's just insane. It's going to lead to higher and higher prices. There's no two ways around that. So get used to it, because it's here until these fools get put out of office. But sadly, they're all in the bureaucrats, the EU, the European Commission, the federal government. It's just all run by these bureaucrats. And they love, I was just reading today actually on, let's see if I can't find it, the cartel. Oh man, where did I find that? Hold on a second. I was reading earlier about the green energy cartels, and it's 100%, man. Right now, the biggest cartels aren't in the illicit drugs, it's green energy. It's all directed by the World Economic Forum, BlackRock, Vanguard. It's just a way to separate, it's a reverse Robin Hood. They're going to take from the poor to make the rich richer, man. It's just that simple. It's the biggest threat to civilization there is right now. It's high cost of energy, because the rich are going to be fine. As you and me, the regular people, we're going to pay the price. Reverse Robin Hood in effect. You better freaking wake up to this. It's no joke. And if you think, oh, Elon Musk is going to solve the issue, you're freaking crazy, man. It's not Elon Musk. The facts are, there is nothing like coal, oil, natural gas. There is something that's called nuclear, but the greenies don't want that, because they don't want you having cheap energy. They don't want people. That's what's going on here. And the way you get less people is you make it more expensive to have people. It's just that simple. I mean, it's a great plan. That's exactly what they're doing, man. So wake up and smell the coffee, man. I'll see you.